How's it going, everyone? It's Juan Romero here from SwitchWatch, back with another review. Today it's Attack on Titan 2. Thank you, Koei Tecmo, for the early review copy. Let's get into this one and find out if it's worth your hard-earned cash. Let's get into it. Right guys, I've had to shorten my review somewhat because it's just too long to make into a video. So if you want to read the full review, head on over to our website www.switchwatch.co.uk. For those of you who haven't seen the anime, the story here, you get to consume seasons 1 and 2 from the anime series itself. You don't need to have watched the anime series to enjoy the story in this game though. However, it's very good in its own right. You get to consume the story of Attack on Titan 2 from a differing perspective, in that we do not get to play as a main character from the anime. Instead, the player can customize their very own protagonist, join the scout regiment, and while I did enjoy the fact that you can make your own character, did feel that sometimes there was a bit of a disconnect. I think I would have felt differently had I been able to play as one of the main characters, but I'm sure each person will have their own views on that. There is the ability to play with some of the other characters that you unlock throughout the campaign, but you can only do this in the online mode. Now, the story is told in Japanese, of course. It's subtitled. It felt dramatic and sometimes emotional over the 20-hour or so campaign, and I became heavily invested in the story due to the character development here. The pacing and the way you can discover side stories by exploring the towns adds to how much you end up caring about them. And not only that, but you can explore all 37 characters' story arches, which, if you're a big fan of the anime series, is a real win, and even if you're not, it's great that it's here. The fight against the Titans themselves felt very real, and I just could not wait to get in there and help in battle. And the conversations with character even have you able to choose your responses, which, while it doesn't change the story much, I enjoyed that the option was here. Now let's get to audio. The audio in Attack on Titan is a thing of beauty. It's dramatic in every sense. The soundtrack that invites you to take on the Titans in fierce battles, and your ODM makes a fantastic sound as you traverse the towns, cutting through a Titan and hearing your sword make contact is grossly satisfying in ways that you can't imagine. And some of the cutscenes, the music reminded me a lot of Game of Thrones, such as the dramatic feel to it. Now the characters are all voice acted, even though they speak in Japanese and it's subtitled. Some may be turned off by this. However, the voice acting was really good here. You could really tell in the tone of their voices that things were drastic, and the characters all felt unique and had great personality, and you're going to remember them fondly when the credits roll. In terms of visuals and performance, I'll get this straight out of the way and say that the graphical fidelity on Switch is functional. I'm not one to compare to other systems because I've said many times you can't compare a portable device to one which is tethered to a TV, but people are going to make that comparison in any case. We're not going to do that here. What I can say is that if you don't own any of the other systems, for the most part the Switch version does a decent job running 1080p and docked and 720p handheld, but it's by no means perfect. I did have the benefit of having the game for around 10 days before release, and the developers let us know that we were playing a beta version. It was only on the 14th of March that we unlocked the final version through a patch. There's slightly more polish added to the campaign mode itself, but mostly it was to fix the broken online, which just wasn't up and running at the time. The game runs a little bit more stable than what it did through the version that we had, which was great, by the way. Effects used when swaying through the air look great, and the speed of this gives you a really great sense of what it could be like to possess such a skill. The characters themselves are all drawn really nicely. I love the way that you can change the colour of the clothing. I really think the gear later on in game looks fantastic. Although I would say that I could not find any option when making your own character for facial hair. Now that saddened me, as I wanted to replicate my beard, but so be it, it wasn't there. Now the game does suffer slowdown. There's some big drops in frame rates from time to time when there's a lot going on the screen. It sometimes also takes a while for characters to load, and there are times where bits of scenery will just disappear in front of your eyes. However, the developers have done a pretty decent job. As I said, it's not perfect by any means, but when you're flying through the air at pace and the game is running smoothly, you tend to forgive these slight hiccups. Now some of you may not, of course, but when you take this game on the move, it's certainly a great feeling. Now let's move on to gameplay. Attack on Titan 2 is heavily focused on action, and straight from the off, the action feels very satisfying. Killing Titans has never felt so good here. Now the story gets you heavily invested into the characters, and in between each cutscene you get thrust straight into a mission, and it's brilliant how the cutscenes just get you straight into that gameplay as it keeps the impetus going. Killing Titans has never felt so good. The skill here though is in the timing. Get that right and you're going to be killing Titans all day long. It requires you to go in at the right angle to kill the Titan, which usually requires a deep cut to the back of the neck called the nape or napping or whatever it's called. This action, when done right, ends up with the Titan bleeding all over the place, and when your swords are thrust straight into them, you get covered in the red stuff. So be warned if you're making a character with long hair, that's all I'm saying. If you're squeamish though, you can also turn the blood off, and some people out there may need that. When you come across a Titan on the battlefield, you'll have a little yellow targeting system that protrudes from your body, letting you know where the Titan is. And to enter into the fight, you just press R to target the Titan itself, and then you can sort of move a little circle to the limbs using the analog stick. It's a good system for the most part, as it alerts you straight away to the near presence of a Titan. And once you're happy with the targeted area, you press X to release your ODM, which feels really impressive because of the use of the HD rumble, which is really clever because once you hook into a Titan and you're swinging around, it feels like there's resistance there, which really feels good in the hand. Now you can target the legs of a Titan, you can chop off the limbs or the arms, and rendering it immobile, and when it falls to the floor you can take out the arms as well. It can't grab you and eat you, and then you're free to cut the back of the neck for the kill. Now personally I like to go straight for the neck and kill Titans as quickly as possible, but this does pose more risk to your health, certainly later on in the game. Now Titans at first are really easy to kill, but require more hits later on, and will also defend themselves, sometimes managing to grab you and start chomping at you. Now if you're not quick enough, pressing the required button multiple times, the Titan will have you for lunch, no doubt. The avoidance meter is really important to keep an eye on, as once a Titan detects you it becomes super aggressive, and at this point you need to be really careful, as you can get easily killed. Now luckily the game has an automatic save checkpoint. Missions can be replayed whenever you like, and it's great if you want to perfect them, which you will do because you're going to want the best equipment, so you're going to want to try and get those S ranks when you can. You can also take out Titans using a sneak attack using a telescopic view, but I didn't use it that much to be honest because it just slowed me down, so some of you will like that and some may not. Hook drives are sensationally satisfying. Avoid a Titan's attack by pressing the jump button at just the right time, and you can unleash a devastating finishing move, but you're going to need the timing at the end of it to press the attack button. In terms of movement, the game feels absolutely excellent, whether on horseback, flying through towns or forests, using your ODM gear. It's just a very pleasurable experience. During fights and moving around, you need to watch your gas expenditure though. Run out of gas and you can't fly, you can lose sharpness on your weapons, and then you can't take down the Titans. It's much more difficult. Thankfully across the map there are bases which you can use to replenish your equipment. Now materials also are needed to build the bases themselves, so it's often a balancing act. Use up all your materials and building bases too early, and you may not be able to replenish gas and blaze later on, rendering you pretty much useless. Now gear can also be upgraded. The more battles you get through, the more sort of materials you're going to get, and this can be used to great effect. It's not as deep as some RPGs, I'm not going to lie, but I was really pleased that the system was here because it just gave me more incentive to play. Now the missions themselves are kept pretty simple. There's Titans across the map, and you've got a mini-map which is really helpful to organise what direction you're going in any given mission, and you can open up the map further if you need to. Now some of the missions may require you to kill a number of Titans or defend a certain area, for example. And within these missions there's side missions, and these often come up with a green plume of smoke. In the latter quarter of the game, of course, the game gets more difficult. You get to battle more different types of Titans, bosses as well. I'm not going to give away which bosses. If you've seen the anime series you probably know what I'm talking about, but there are some really great bosses to fight later on, and of course these are going to be more difficult. Now there is town life here. In between battles things are broken up with town life, which I enjoyed a lot. The reasons it's enjoyable is that it gives you a chance to build relationships with other characters by talking to them, and these give you extra statistics which you can then equip in the skills menu, such as leadership or more health and stuff like that. Now you're going to become invested because you want to uncover more of the stories and learn more about each of the characters. Now being in town also gives you a chance to explore some of the side stories if you're interested, which I certainly was. There's a few things you can do. You can sort of Titan research, which allows you to view the Titans that you've caught during battle, which is quite funny actually. You use your restraining gun in a battle which shoots out a net, and you can sort of, you know, bag these little Titans and take them back to the research facility. Of course the larger ones are much more difficult because you need to cut off their limbs before you can catch them, but it's quite a fun thing to do, and then to take them back and research it. You can also enhance your abilities, take part in scouting missions which are like side missions in towns. I've got to admit though that these felt a little bit repetitive, as these missions didn't have that story to drive you. And you can also take part in regiment administration, where you can make proposals and enter research and development to acquire better bases for battle, but it didn't hold my interest for that long. The bases are all good and everything, but I didn't use them that much in the campaign. I didn't really need to use them. However, I can see that they'd be important in online mode, especially the 4v4 annihilation. No, the main draw here for me was definitely the 20-hour campaign. That's what held my interest, and the action is definitely very, very satisfying. In terms of online then, you've got the 4v4 annihilation mode, where teams of 4 play each other to compete in killing as many Titans as possible. Activating bases gets you more points as well, and seemed to work pretty well for the most part. They didn't get much lag or anything like that, and you know, these battles were really fun. If the developer can continue to support this, then it's going to be really good, and hopefully there'll be a community that's going to be there for the best part of the year, so that we can continue to play. Now there's some missions where you can invite people to join you so that they can play in a cooperative sort of way, which is quite fun as well. So let's talk about value. Now you can buy this game in a physical format for about £44.99 on Amazon. The link is below. If you buy the game with that link, we do get a little bit of commission from Amazon, and that goes straight into the channel. So if you're thinking of buying the game and you're here for the review, please do so through the link below. That would be greatly appreciated. In the USA it's $59.99, so there is a AAA price here. Now, the game for me has a long enough campaign. It's got an engrossing story. You're looking at about 20 hours for the campaign. Throw another 10 hours in for the side missions. And if you want to S-rank every single mission, you're looking at a 70-hour plus game here, guys. Of that, there is no doubt. So for me, it's definitely worth your hard-earned cash. My verdict then of Attack on Titan 2. It's a game with an engrossing story which instantly gets you hooked, and you're going to want to keep playing until the credits roll. The gameplay is full of action, it's satisfying, sometimes a little bit repetitive, and there are some issues of slowdown which I encountered. The game's not perfect technically on the Switch version, but I can't deny one thing. It's a game I thoroughly enjoyed, and I couldn't help playing until the end of the campaign. If that's all this game offered, I would have been happy to spend my hard-earned cash on it, no doubt. The fact that you get a decent online mode as well, where you get to play some thoroughly enjoyable battles, or that you can ask someone to join you on a mission, is great and works well with pretty much no drama. Time will tell though if the game has a lasting online community. If you can forgive some of the issues mentioned, you're going to have a fantastically enjoyable action game, and killing Titans never seems to get old. An 8 out of 10. Now if you enjoy our work, guys, and you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button for us. We'd really appreciate that. If you're a new watcher, then consider subscribing to our channel for more reviews like this one, and gameplay videos, and all sorts of other things we do. For you existing guys that have supported us for however long it's been, I want to take this opportunity from the SwitchWatch team and myself to give you guys a massive thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. One of the things that James and I really wanted when we started the channel, but knew it was going to be a lot of hard work, was to review Nintendo games. Well, Nintendo have responded to say that they'll be supporting us going forward with review copies. One of the first games they've provided us is Kirby, which we've provided to Jordan to do for us because he's a fan of the Kirby series. So you'll be seeing that from him very soon. And I just wanted to say, really humbled. Thank you so much for all of your support. We could not have done this without you. So onwards and upwards. Let's get to that 10,000. I'm sure with your help, we're going to get there. Thanks so much. You know what I'm going to say, guys. My name's Juan Romero, and I'll see you on the next Juan. Take care.